就是一个窝囊废，没挣着什么钱。虽然对我吧还不错，但是从结婚了6年，始终没有什么前途。从一开始我爸妈就反对我嫁给他，后来我有一个公司的老同学的同事，然后他追我嘛，我就和他离婚了。
离了，那为什么现在要主动给他去复婚呢？
离婚了，其实离婚了以后啊，我觉得他人还不错，老老实实的过日子，踏踏实实的嘛，其实也挺好的。就是在老家。现在嘛，老家的房子拆迁了，赔了600万。这个咱不管怎么分吧，不要这么多年的感情了，在我这里还是就是这600万呢，我也不太放心他，我怕他乱花钱啊。
我妈呢就怂恿着我拿离婚呀来逼他。
My husband earns a monthly salary of 50,000 yuan, and our living conditions were actually quite decent. But even with such a stable financial situation, he still refused to help my younger brother pay that 2,000 plus yuan housing loan each month. At the time, I felt incredibly wronged. I thought, this is a matter between real siblings. How could you, as his brother-in-law, be so unwilling to lend a hand? My mom, standing on the sidelines, kept egging me on, saying things like, this man has no sense of responsibility, he's too selfish, and even encouraged me to use divorce to pressure him, to see whether he truly cared about this family or not. At that time, I was totally blinded by my mom's words. I thought, fine, if it's divorce, then divorce it is, there are plenty of men out there anyway. If he really couldn't live without me, wouldn't he just come crawling back, begging for reconciliation? So I gambled on that assumption and made up my mind to go through with the divorce. But reality slapped me hard in the face. We really did get divorced, and my ex-husband didn't come begging me to get back together like I imagined. On the day of the divorce, I moved back to my parents' home. My brother sat in the living room sighing, saying the mortgage for this month didn't have any solution again. My mom wasn't one to be outdone. She joined in the scolding, accusing my ex-husband of being heartless. But not long after, I started to feel that my life had completely changed from before. Back when I was married, I could buy whatever I wanted without a second thought. Spending money was never a concern. But now, every yuan I spend, I have to calculate carefully. Even buying a piece of clothing, I hesitate for a long time, asking myself if it's worth it, whether it's practical. Life has become tight and even suffocating. It was during this time that I started to miss my ex-husband, miss his gentleness, miss how he used to treat me with unreserved devotion. Even though he wasn't willing to help my brother repay the loan, when it came to me, he was truly almost always responsive to whatever I asked. When we went shopping, if I glanced a few more times at a bag or a dress, he'd buy it for me without hesitation. Those days when I was being spoiled, now that I think back, they feel like a dream. These days, my regret grows deeper and deeper inside me, though I still pretend to be tough on the outside, unwilling to admit how absurd my decision really was. Until one day, a friend told me that my ex-husband had a new girlfriend. She said the girl was not only young and beautiful with a great figure, but most importantly, she was practical and knew how to manage a household, not wasteful at all. That piece of news felt like a sharp needle piercing my heart, leaving me speechless and emotionally wrecked. I struggled, hesitated, thinking about whether I should go find my ex-husband and ask for a reconciliation. But my pride held me back firmly, refusing to let me take that first step. Then yesterday, at the mall, I actually bumped into the two of them. They were holding hands, walking right past me, their faces glowing with happiness. I acted on impulse, deliberately approached them, wanting to embarrass him, see if he still had feelings for me, or if he still hadn't moved on. But when he saw me, he only nodded politely, with the calm expression you'd give a complete stranger. Then, without another glance, he continued walking away, still holding his new girlfriend's hand. At that moment, I stood there frozen in place, tears streaming uncontrollably down my face. After I got home, I completely broke down. I yelled at my mom in rage, blaming her for encouraging me to get divorced in the first place. She didn't say a word, just sat there sighing, saying she didn't expect things would turn out like this either. Now, every day when I look in the mirror, I want to slap myself twice across the face. I want to scream at the foolish, impulsive version of me from the past. I finally come to understand just how stupid I was, pushing away a man who loved me wholeheartedly with both hands. Just for the sake of my brother's measly 2,000 plus yuan housing loan, I destroyed my own true happiness. And now, all I can do is force a smile and face life's hardships alone, while watching my ex-husband live a happy life with another woman. I finally get it. Marriage isn't something to be used as a weapon of emotion, nor can it be played like a bargaining chip out of spite.
动了离婚的念头，我想找他好好谈谈。
I've had thoughts of getting a divorce. I want to sit down and have a serious talk with him. I really want a divorce. I used to be reluctant because of the child. But why did I truly start thinking about divorce this time? He drank alcohol this morning until after 9 o'clock. And coincidentally, I saw a video today. Someone in their 30s had a stroke and became paralyzed from excessive drinking and ended up crushing their whole family. My husband also has high blood pressure. He takes medication while still drinking alcohol. Out of the 30 days in a month, there isn't a single day he doesn't drink. He often goes out drinking at night. The earliest he comes back is around 3 a.m., and more commonly he returns around 6 or 7 in the morning. I didn't care. I never tried to stop him. I've never paid attention to his drinking. I had already given up, didn't want to care, didn't want to ask. But today, that video gave me a jolt. It made me realize, right now, we're still legally married. If something happens, his high blood pressure, his drinking, if he ends up having a stroke and becomes paralyzed, would that become my responsibility? I don't want my later years. I don't want the rest of my life to be ruined because of him. I'm only in my 30s. I can work hard to raise our child on my own. I don't want to spend the rest of my life just taking care of him. This morning, those emotions had already drained me for a long time. Because by that point, I had already thought about divorce. But maybe I just process emotions more quickly. Then in the afternoon, I started thinking, forget it, I won't bother with him anymore. Just let things be. Whatever happens between the two of us, let it be. I'll just focus on taking care of the child. I'll work hard to make money. As long as he covers my living expenses each month and pays for our child's school fees, he can live however he wants. I won't interfere. But what really broke me, the final straw that crushed the camel's back, was a message he sent me that afternoon. He said their company front desk was hiring part-time help, 6 hours, 90 yuan. He asked me if I wanted to do it. Because this job wasn't permanent, it would only last for 1 or 2 months. I replied, I don't want to do it. I said, although I'm currently working in housekeeping, and even though I have fewer orders at the beginning, once I gain more experience, there should be more work later on. Besides, the schedule is more flexible, and I can take care of the child. You can't expect the kid to just sit at home and stare at a phone all day. But I didn't expect him to reply with, have you made any money yet? I said, no. He said, I haven't even seen you go to work. I didn't respond after that. I felt deeply disheartened. He can't see my struggle. He can't see my efforts. All he sees is me lying at home, doing nothing. That was the final straw that crushed me. It was because of this that I truly had thoughts of divorce. I'm really planning to talk to him seriously. My thought is, we can divorce, but I won't move out. I just want to sever the obligation of taking care of him. If one day you really end up having a stroke from drinking, becoming paralyzed, don't morally blackmail me. Please don't expect me to stay in this family just to take care of you for the rest of your life. I know my mother-in-law. You'll probably see this video too. And this is something I want to say to you as well. I've told your son many times. I've talked to him over and over. He doesn't listen. He drinks every single day. He's never thought about this family. He has aging parents above and a young child below. If he has a stroke and becomes paralyzed, what happens then? What happens to such a small child? He has no sense of responsibility. But you can't drain me. I'm only in my 30s. When I finish raising this child, I'll only be in my early 40s. I still have the prime of my life ahead of me. I don't want to waste it on this man. So, if one day he really does become paralyzed, if he really does have a stroke, I beg you all, don't use morality to trap me. I don't want to waste my life on this man.
我身后这个女人，她不是我的妻子，而是我的前妻。
Standing behind me is not my wife, but my ex-wife. Back when I was at the lowest point of my life, when my career had collapsed and I was most in need of support and companionship, she was supposed to be the one to weather the storm with me, to hold up our life together. But unexpectedly, not long after giving birth to our child, she chose to turn and walk away, leaving without a trace of hesitation or attachment. Her departure felt like a cold, sharp blade that pierced straight through my heart, leaving me in unbearable pain. The anguish, the grievance, and the despair I experienced during that time still remain vivid in my memory, as if it all happened just yesterday. Fate always seems to play tricks on us at the most unexpected moments. Years later, she returned, but the woman standing before me now is no longer the decisive, confident person she once was. Her mind appears to have suffered, and she's become fragile, confused, and defenseless. The strength and brilliance she once had are completely gone. The moment she came back, my heart felt like it was flooded with 1,000 emotions. Bitterness, sorrow, betrayal, all those memories surged back at once. Yet when I looked at her in her current pitiful state, helpless and broken, I found myself unable to turn away. Maybe this is fate giving me another test. The hurt she caused me is still there, I haven't forgotten. If I were to stand by coldly now, I know I would never find true peace or closure in my heart. In the end, I made the decision to take care of her, not because old feelings have rekindled, but purely out of basic conscience and respect for a fragile human life. I am fully aware that caring for her means I will have to devote a tremendous amount of time, energy, and patience. But I also understand that only by fulfilling this responsibility myself can I truly find inner peace. Her sudden return has once again torn open the wound in my heart that never fully healed over the years. Many of my friends have advised me not to bother with her anymore. They say she left me so coldly back then that she even left for another man. But deep down, there's a voice in me that refuses to believe she's that kind of person. I don't know what the road ahead holds. I don't know if there's any chance of reconciliation between us. But at least in this difficult moment, I am willing to bear this responsibility.
你老公就算穷死，他就算出去要饭，你都不能把你的钱和你家的钱投入给他。
Even if your husband is dirt poor, even if he ends up begging on the streets one day, you must never put your money, not even your family's money, into him. They're just not worth it. Listen carefully, sisters, they're really not worth a single cent. Looking back at my own experience, I honestly feel I should have seen his true colors much earlier. I should have filed for divorce a long time ago. This man had no ambition from the start. He kept talking about starting a business, about making money, but all these years I kept giving him chances, kept waiting for him to hit it big. And what I got in return was the total collapse of my own life. After I got divorced, the most painful part wasn't losing material things, it was the tearing apart of my soul. I clearly have a home, yet I can't return to it. I clearly have a child, but I can't see him. That kind of torment, only those who've gone through it can truly understand. Right now, I live alone in a rental apartment. I bought a home, but I can't even live in it. Not only did I lose my money and my house, in the end I couldn't even keep my child by my side. Sometimes I think, if I hadn't invested my money in that man back then, if I hadn't handed over 1 million yuan of my family's savings to support his so-called entrepreneurial dream, if I had been a bit more cautious and insisted on putting my name on the property deed when we bought the new house, then even if I did end up divorced, at least I would still have that 1 million yuan in my hands. At least I could have claimed half the house. Wouldn't my life with my son now be completely different? Wouldn't we be living far less bitterly, far less painfully? Why me? Why do I have to be the one suffering, helpless, and humiliated? I used to believe, as long as I was good to them, as long as I gave my all for this family, I'd eventually get a happy ending. I worked hard, gave more, endured more, hoping to create better conditions for our child. But reality slapped me in the face hard. And I finally understood, when only one person is holding everything up, happiness is just an illusion. It wasn't until everything fell apart that I woke up for real. I was too naive from the very beginning. After marriage, everything changes. No matter how much you loved each other before, no matter how much you're willing to give, once you've had kids, drained your savings, and given everything, you'll eventually realize the household no longer listens to you. You won't even have the dignity to stand your ground. That's why I must speak out, to let more women hear the truth. Marriage is not a place where being foolish and self-sacrificing will win you happiness. Don't be like me, don't put all your hopes, all your money, all your trust into a man who has no sense of responsibility and no real ability. Because in the end, the one who suffers is always you. You must plan your exit route early. You must protect your own money, your own bottom line, your own value. I'm a living example, a real life lesson. I'm willing to share all of this so that you don't take the same path I did. so that you don't suffer the same pain I've endured. Women, please, please remember this. You must take control of your money and your property early.
10 out of 10 divorced couples, 9 will end up regretting it, especially women. We must stay clear-headed and never make decisions when overwhelmed by emotions. Once you actually get divorced, it's like being completely stripped from your original life, as if you've been swept out the door, becoming someone who is helpless and without a sense of belonging. Some people think, after I get divorced, I can find someone better. But reality is not nearly as simple as you imagine. You didn't manage your first marriage well, so what makes you think your second marriage will go smoothly? Most likely, you'll find that starting over isn't a new beginning at all, but the start of more complicated conflicts and new problems. As women, we need to have self-awareness. We must not always try to dominate the household with a strong attitude, and we definitely shouldn't keep trying to change men. Marriage is not a renovation project. It's a process of mutual understanding and empathy. Let's take a moment to look back at ourselves. Have we fulfilled our responsibilities as a wife? Have we done our part as a competent mother in front of the children? Have we handled the relationship with our in-laws properly and taken on the duties we're supposed to bear? We carry so many roles, so many responsibilities. You really think you've done them all well? If you really choose to divorce, then the child will grow up in a single-parent household, and during the process, may become self-abased, sensitive, or even easily bullied or excluded by other children. So think more about your husband's strengths. Think about your lovely child. As long as you put in the effort, life will definitely get better and better. Remember, if it's still salvageable, don't give up easily. What's your view on staying or letting go in marriage? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Maybe one sentence from you could give someone else a bit of strength. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.